When I first came to Vilnius as a tourist in 2017, I found this old building at the top of a hill, which I later found out was a trade union chamber building. It looked abandoned, run down, and covered in graffiti. I remember there was a parking lot in front of it, and it seemed like one of those places in a city where young people could drive their cars to at night and park to enjoy the view. Or, make out. Soon enough though, the building was fenced off, and eventually reduced to a pile of rubble and cleared away. But all that was okay for me because at least the park area was still accessible. Well, until it wasn't. This whole area, which goes by the name of Tautos or Taurus Hill, is being redeveloped to become Lithuania's national concert hall. The building design has been selected, and it will still be a few more years before this thing opens. And so for today's video, I want to look at the project, what it will look like, but then also show you some of the 200 plus design submissions, and then give an update on the status of the building. So let's get started. The official promotional material says that the building will be a brand new cultural venue in Vilnius designed to host top-level classical music performances. This National Concert Hall, a 20,000 square meter complex, will also be suitable for exhibitions, conferences, and events. There will also be a seamless connection of green zones and a pedestrian overpass connecting the old and new parts of the city. Okay, but before I tell you and show you more of the winning design, I just have to go over some of the other design submissions. A few of the weirder, crazier, and perhaps even more beautiful entries. The international competition received huge interest, with architectural companies from the US, Japan, Germany, Great Britain, New Zealand, Finland, China, Brazil, and other countries participating. 21 architectural teams from Lithuania participated as well. Some designs wanted to incorporate the trade union chamber building, such as this one, or this one, but many others plan to replace the building completely. And so you'll have to tell me what you think about these two, whether you agree or disagree with me, by leaving a comment down below. So first off, here are some of the ones that I liked the least. I think I dislike most of them for their extensive use of gray concrete. Some designs are what some might call brutalist architecture. I don't know the inspiration for each design, but I can imagine some were designing with a smaller budget in mind, something that would be relatively fast to produce without a massive cost overrun. But some feel rather, dare I say it, Soviet? It almost makes me wonder if some designers discovered that Lithuania was occupied by the Soviets and decided to incorporate Soviet-style architecture as some sort of callback. I mean, hopefully not, but some of these feel pretty Soviet. And then there's this tent-like structure which looks too small. And then this sloped step building kind of reminds me a lot of Tallinn's Linnahall complex. What do you think? And then there's this one, which is just crazy. And then speaking of crazy, here are some other strange and rather unconventional designs. I think this is supposed to be reminiscent of organ pipes. And this one, I have to wonder if an all red building could look good. It would definitely stand out on the skyline and on Google Maps. This one has an outdoor set of escalators, which just doesn't seem like a practical and good idea with Lithuania's climate. And then continuing on, more strangely shaped designs. I imagine some of these would be incredibly expensive to produce. I think when I look at the images that I'm personally not such a fan of, I realize that choosing the right conceptual art must be so important. Some renders are very poor quality. Others are presented with a gray sky and leafless trees and no people. And to me, it just emphasizes how depressing and lifeless the building would be on an average day in Lithuania between October and March. But hey, that's just me. I really hope I'm not offending any architects in the process of giving my personal opinion. On the flip side, I think designs that placed many people in their renders added more life to the picture. Ultimately, it's going to be a public space where people might just be hanging out in their leisure time, and so I think it would be important to show how the structure and the space around it would be suitable for public enjoyment. Maybe this one is a little bare in terms of public outdoor space, but there's just something about that exterior texture that I like. This one I noticed also has outside escalators, but I do like the broader concept and visualization of public space. Maybe I should have mentioned this one in the weird design section, but it's kind of cool. Maybe it's just the render quality and the sunshine. There's a lot more, but those are just ones that stood out for me. And so I guess there were 4 designated prize winners after all these designs were examined. It looks like each one got to have their design presented as a physical model, which I suppose helps with imagining things from all angles. In fourth place is this one from SMAR Architecture Studio of Australia. It looks like a glass shoebox. The simple shape would hopefully result in faster construction, but to me it's a little too barren. And then this design from Paleko Arch Studia of Lithuania took third place. Again, a relatively simple design, with the columns adding a little more diversity than the fourth place winner. Second place is another fully transparent structure, and this was put forward by French company Fraise Architects and Planners, and it looks like fourth place, but with a more unconventional shape, which I think is kind of cool. I do like the inclusion of this interior render, which imagines the Grand Hall being this fully wooden space. It's quite beautiful in my opinion. And finally, announced in September 19, this is the winning design, which appears to be at least 3 separate buildings. So out of nearly 250 submissions, the one coming from Spanish team Arquivo Architects was announced the winner of the competition. These architects received a prize of 60,000 euros. According to the official Vilnius announcement, this concept integrates the structures into the unique environment surrounding it as naturally as possible. The separate parts of the building will be interconnected by an open ground floor, creating a green corridor and setting up a grand and a small concert hall in the building. Representing the Arquivo team, Daniel Frail said, "The only constraint in competitions like this is we ourselves as professionals. We take a very responsible look at the entire process, the purpose, the expectations and desires, the deadlines, the correlation of the created model with the city and its environment, its integration into the landscape. Let this achievement be our gift to the city of Vilnius and the entire country." The jury pointed out that the winning design stands out for a sensitive integration of the design building into the context, linking the old cemetery to Tautos Hill. The official announcement goes on to say that the top of the hill opens up to the city and the river, and the 3 spaces and new squares in the design clearly and appropriately convey the comprehensive relation between the city and the interior spaces, while public spaces of the interior are clear and encourage communication. This is very valuable to all residents and guests of Vilnius. Okay, but what about the details of the building? Well, the project will feature a grand hall with about 1,600 seats, and a small hall seating about 500 people. A third hall will be dedicated to educational activities and various events, with a maximum capacity of up to 220 people. A 2020 government statement says that there will be a separate fourth hall for daily activities of the orchestra in residence, primarily rehearsals. There will also be space for cafes, a spacious lobby overlooking the city, and facilities for a variety of cultural activities. The estimated budget for the concert hall design, service, and construction works was stated to be 52 million euros in 2019. This amount is to include all costs relating to the design, construction, installation of the objects, and the arrangement of the land around it. It was also stated that the total value of landscaping projects, including EU support, is about 14 million euros. Since this was all done pre-pandemic, I wasn't at all surprised that the timeline and finances have since changed. A 2022 press release said the project would be done in 2026, but then a 2023 LRT article says it is now scheduled to be finished in 2030. The revised total cost of the project is estimated to be 121 million euros, quite a bit more than what was noted in the earlier material. So, funny enough, just after I produced this video, news came out that the construction of the National Concert Hall in Vilnius has officially begun. This latest press release from Go Vilnius says that the concert hall is set to open in 2028. With most large projects finishing late, I wouldn't be surprised if it went past 2028, but at least this most recent estimate is earlier than that LRT report that said 2030. This press release added that the project aims to preserve existing trees and will plant 113 new ones alongside 4,500 perennial flowers and 2,500 shrubs. They say that green roofs and other eco-friendly solutions will blend the venue harmoniously into its natural surroundings, honoring the historical and environmental significance of the Tautos Hill. And yeah, here you can see photos of the groundbreaking event with the mayor in attendance. The announcement came with a few more renders of what the finished site will look like. Yeah, what do you think? As a Vilnius resident, I'm just looking forward to having access to the hill as a viewpoint again. It looks like the new design leaves a lot of the open grassy area beneath it, which will be nice for families with children who previously enjoyed sliding down in the wintertime. I guess when it does open up, I'll have to visit and make a video about my first impressions. But that's all a few years away. So what do you think about the winning design, the other finalists, and some of the other proposals? Are you looking forward to having a national concert hall on Tautos Kalnas? Share your opinions by leaving a comment. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy the videos on this channel and want to support my work, you can either buy me a coffee with a one-time donation, or join my Patreon with a monthly membership to get access to videos along with other perks. There's a link down in the description for you to check out. If neither works for you, just liking and commenting would be lovely. Thanks.